Hello, world, and welcome to Grounded and Guided. I'm your host, Lynette, and I'm so glad that you could join me here in this moment. This episode is about my mission, my purpose, and approach as a channeler, energetic healer, and entrepreneur. If you've ever been interested in working with me, curious about what I do, or just desiring to know me a bit better, this episode is for you. So, my mission and purpose has really evolved over time. The more I've chosen to step into this role, walk down this path, take this journey, however you might define that, it has really evolved over time. A few years ago, though, it really landed very deeply with me that my purpose is to help people heal. And that is really evident in the work that I do. And it might seem a bit broad that help people heal. So let's take that to the core. At that core, I recognize the work that I'm doing as a channeler and an energetic healer is really just helping people to release their conditionings, their beliefs, their traumas, their energetic blocks, so that they can just reconnect with their truth, their authentic self, and they can move away from a life that's just completely based on surviving to one that is more soul aligned. Now, working in those areas of traumas and getting to the roots of people's conditionings and programmings and beliefs that are really holding them back, keeping them small, causing them a lot of suffering in life. Those can be big things. And honestly, I do not take this work lightly. And I think a lot of my approach really comes from my past career as being a agriculture and business banker. That role meant confidentiality and integrity were super important. Without those two fundamental pillars, there is no way that I could have had a business in that space. There's no way that I would have had a solid, reputable relationship with my clients. And so I have taken that integrity and confidentiality and I have brought it into the business and my practice with Lynette Waltham Energy. I recognize when I worked in that banking role, I also created a space that just allowed people to open themselves up to me and tell me things, and I could hold that for them. And I feel like that is a characteristic within me that I bring to my space, bring to my practice every day. I often say to my clients, thank you for trusting me with your energy. And I really do believe that. Like, I don't take that lightly. I recognize that there is a certain level of trust that you are instilling with me when you choose to work with me. And I really want to honor that. And I want to respect that with confidentiality and letting you know that the container that we work in, the work stays in that container. It stays between us. And I feel like that is really important for safety. Over the past year, I have created a new awareness around safety and how important it is for someone to feel safe, especially when we're doing this work of working with our emotions, maybe opening up some deep wounds, some core wounds, some inner child awareness. And so I feel it's just really important that I do whatever I can in my ability to help you feel safe. So I recognize the language I use is a safe and sacred space. So as a practitioner, I am healing and growing and working on myself so that I can maintain the integrity of that safe and sacred space for you. So we clear energetically the space that we are going to work in. So whether it's a physical space or we're working virtually, I am clearing that space and putting some boundaries up so that container can be held and we can't be infiltrated or inundated by energies that are not welcomed. So there's like that energetic safety, but I also do a lot of work on myself to make sure that I can hold you in that manner that you need to be held. As I stepped into this role, choosing to be a channeler and an energetic healer, I did a lot of inner work on myself. And I did not do that inner work alone. I worked with another practitioner, another energetic healer. And that process helped me see, feel, know, understand the type of practitioner that I wanted to be. In that container with that practitioner, I felt so held, seen, and safe. And so it was just really important to me that I do my very best to create that same type of environment for the people that choose to work with me. And sometimes safety doesn't come right away. We have to build safety. And so we can do that together. Sometimes it takes a bit of awareness and maybe a few actions on your side before you're maybe ready to work with me or even other practitioners. I say this often to the people that I work with, and that is you only get what you're ready for. And so there is an element of safety even with that, in that we're not going in and opening Pandora's box, I guess you could call it, like opening up and now everything is just flooding out and you have to deal with everything all at once. Absolutely not. Our psyche can't handle that. So we work on what is needing awareness, love, and attention in the present moment. So sometimes that means that you might need to work with me over a course of a period of time because we do need to remove some of those very surface top layers in order to do some of the deeper work that you are wanting. And you may not realize that is what you are wanting at the time, but that very well could be like where you are desiring to go. And that safety comes to with permissions. I don't just walk around moving through life, tapping into people's energy and reading people, mind, body, soul, and spirit. That's not how I work. As I mentioned before, I hold myself to a pretty high level of integrity. And this work is very much about when someone chooses to work with me, they provide me with the permission, and then we go from there. And sometimes booking with me and showing up into that container, whether it's virtual or it's in person, sometimes that's not enough permission. I very much can recognize when there is a level there that we haven't quite really met. There's a certain threshold of permission that I require in order to do my very best work for you. And sometimes we have to do a bit of a verbal walkthrough through those permissions so that you are open enough for me to do the work that I need to do. And that means like tuning up and tuning into you. So I'm only really tuning up and tuning into you right before we work together in the container. And again, that's about a permissions thing and an integrity thing for the people that I work with. But it also is a little bit about me too, in that I cannot really tune up and tune in to everybody, every environment, every place, everything all the time. That is not energetically sustainable for me. So I tune up, I tune in when I'm going into a session and working with somebody. And then when we step out of that container, I am then cutting, severing, and disconnecting from you, closing off that energetic container, and I am releasing it so that we are no longer connected. Another aspect that is a part of my mission and purpose and how I show up as an entrepreneur and a channeler and energetic healer is centered around love and neutrality. So I really do honestly believe that love is the answer, that love heals, that love conquers all. And I do my very best to just love you as you are, how you need to be loved in that moment. I also recognize a huge factor in the success of our work together is my neutrality. And as I have mentioned, I've done a lot of work to heal myself and get myself to a place where I can safely hold space for others. And to be able to do that without bias, without judgment, with neutrality. It is very hard for someone to feel seen, safe, and heard if the person that they are confiding in is holding judgment, has preconceived notions, has a bias, has an attachment to the outcome. And that is not my role. I do my very best to clear myself, to keep myself neutral. And that is really important so that I am a clear channel for your support team, for the messages that are meant to come through for you. And it's very important so that I can hear all of that really clearly. And I can provide those insights, those perspectives that are unique to you that will serve your highest and greatest good. And that's another part of approaching this work with love, is to recognize that the messages, the insights, and the guidance that comes forward is coming from a place of love. Your support team loves you, your spirit guides, your soul family, past loved ones, angels, source energy is all rooted in love. All of these souls and beings, they want you to be your highest and greatest and best self. So the messages, they come from love. And I feel like that allows us to be able to receive them in a very beautiful way. So there you go. That's how I approach my practice. That's how I approach how I work with a client. And that's my purpose. That's my mission. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm showing up as a channeler and energetic healer. And that's why I am putting this information out, sharing myself in podcast form, is to help people heal. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with me. I appreciate you. And if you want to stay connected with me and this podcast, please subscribe to the show and maybe even leave me a review. Take care, everybody.